seems that our friend from Switzerland hasn't managed to come back on time so that he can present it by himself the development in Switzerland. But the nice coincidence is we have a Swiss citizen here with us, my colleague Jean-Daniel Pitelou. Actually, you have also background in Venezuela, but you're a Swiss citizen as well. And so you're the best person now to present us the situation in Switzerland. The presentation which was prepared by the Swiss Wind Energy Association. So it's really first-hand information. Now, briefly having a look at the results of our poll. We see here there is rather a positive expectation for wind power development in the coming year. And that is both internationally, but also in your home countries. I think that is a good outcome, and I think that is also in line with what we heard from the speakers today, but also 1 week ago. And with this, I would request Jean to present Switzerland.
Yes, thank you, Stefan, and thank you to our colleague Lionel Perret from the Swiss Wind Energy Association for sending us the slides for today's webinar. So I'm not an expert on the Swiss, although I'm Swiss, I'm not an expert on the Swiss market, but I can at least show you some of the figures, some of the status of the Swiss market. So in Switzerland, by the end of 2019, there were 75 megawatts installed, with a production of 146 gigawatt hours in 2019. Although being one of the smallest countries in Europe, there are 1.2 gigawatts of wind projects in planning currently. 5 of these 5 projects are at the moment waiting for the final court decision. And the long-term goal of the Swiss industry, of the Swiss wind energy sector, is to have 4,000 gigawatt hours. And that means around 7% of the whole electricity share. So in terms of the COVID-19 pandemic effect on the Swiss market, as similar to other countries as we hear already, like Italy, for example, and in many countries in the world, the delay is mainly on the approval process of these wind projects. So there are new dates for both. There's some delays on how these are approved by the judges, and also in terms of regional energy plans, also there are some delays. Also, those who are opposing these wind projects are asking for more delays because of the pandemic. So, but good news is that at least one of these projects that was under construction when the pandemic started is the wind park Gotthard. Is very high on the Alps, Swiss Alps, very high altitude. So it's 5 turbines in total, 11.75 megawatts. Is, as I mentioned already, is over 2,000 meter high in the Alps. And actually today, one of the main reason why our colleague from the Swiss Wind Energy Association is not here in the webinar is because right now is the inauguration of this wind project. And as you can see in the picture, it's very far away in the Alps, so the internet connection is very difficult and must be also very cold at the moment there. But fortunately, there was no delay on the construction of this project, so they could finish on time. So another activity during the pandemic, of course, we all had the opportunity to meet in these kind of events online. So there is a wind research and development organization in Switzerland that kind of conglomerate all the companies who are working on wind in Switzerland. And there was an opportunity to meet on September 16. To discuss most of the most important topics that are concerning the wind industry at the moment. I had the opportunity to take part on that event myself. So there were a lot of discussion about mainly about data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. So there were a lot of discussion about how can the Swiss industry or the Swiss developers share more data that can improve many of the, not only in terms of technology, but on the market side also, electricity market. So it was mainly about data, I would say, that event. But if you want to know more, of course, you can visit the website there in the slide, vedowin.ch. You can actually join that group, take part on the discussion. So I will invite you to take part on that. So another study about the CO2 impact of wind in Switzerland. You can hear some information about this project. So if you have any question, you can ask us in the chat or send us an email, and we will forward this to our colleague from Switzerland. But you can see here that it has a strong argument, this study, about the impact of the wind projects in the CO2 levels, especially during the winter in Switzerland. So if you, as I mentioned already, if you want more information about this or about Switzerland, we will happy to forward your questions to our Swiss colleague, and I hope he will join us in the future meetings, and he will also show some pictures about these wind projects in the Alps. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jean-Daniel. That, I think, was also good to see how a small market is developing. And I think it is a reason for all of us to celebrate, to have such probably one of the wind farms on highest altitude, more than 2,000 meters, that's inaugurated. Switzerland, not a big market, but of course, they have already a lot of, a quite big share of hydropower. So in general, a high share of renewable power in their grid, in the national electricity supply.